How do you know when you have an unconscious limiting belief that is holding you back? Keep watching. This is Life Mastery Gym. I'm Damon, and I teach people just like you cutting edge NLP processes and techniques so that you can master your life and take charge of your destiny. So if that sounds good, make sure you click that subscribe button right down here so you can get these videos on a regular basis. I've done a lot of videos on how to transform limiting beliefs into positive, uplifting beliefs that help you get what you want. But I get questions like, well, how do I know if I have a limiting belief? How do I identify that so that I can make that transformation? So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to do that because I'm going to explain exactly how to do that. And I've worked with hundreds of people on this, and I've worked with my own limiting beliefs. So I've done a ton of work on getting clear about these things, getting clear about what's holding you back. But before we get into this, if you think you might have a limiting belief, but you're not sure, tell me about it in the comments below. I will respond to you. And if I can help you gain clarity about it, I'll definitely do that. It's actually quite simple to identify when you have a limiting belief. And the more you do this, the more you will be able to identify the deeper, more unconscious limiting beliefs. So get in the habit of doing what I explain in this video, and it'll become very, very natural to you. You'll just start doing it without even thinking about it, and it'll just be your normal processing. You'll feel it, oh, something's getting in my way. Oh, I know what that is now, and now I can do something about it. And really the biggest problem with limiting beliefs is that you don't know that you have them most of the time. And so they're holding you back and you just don't know why. You might just think, well, that's just how it is, or that's just how I am. And it's really not true. You have so much untapped potential, or most people have so much untapped potential. And the only thing really holding them back is basically some assumptions about themselves or about the world or about how things work that just are unchecked. So that is really what a limiting belief is. People give it this sort of mystical qualities about it, but it's actually very, very simple. And again, it's just basically an unchecked assumption. So how do we get clear about this? Well, it first starts with gaining some clarity about what it is that you want. So when you start thinking about what it is that you want, and by the way, before I get into that, don't go on a witch hunt and trying to go inside and get rid of all of your limiting beliefs. I've tried that. It doesn't work very well. I know people who have tried that. It doesn't work very well. And here's why it doesn't work very well. Because you're putting so much focus and you're gaining so much clarity about what you're trying to get rid of rather than putting your attention on what it is that you want and moving toward it. And the truth is you could put in a lot of work on transforming these limiting beliefs when they don't really affect your life that much. Yes, you have so many limiting beliefs, but if they're not really getting in the way of what you want, let them be. And if ever they do start to get in your way, well, that's the time to transform them. You don't want to go in and try to get rid of all of your limiting beliefs. It's just, you could spend the rest of your life doing that, and it probably wouldn't get you that much further ahead. What's going to get you ahead is by getting clear about what it is that you want, start moving in that direction of getting what you want. And if you notice a limitation comes up, that's when you deal with it. Don't do it the other way. You just won't get ahead, because it's like trying to get ahead by looking back. So look forward to what it is that you want, and that's just it. That's the first step to identifying a limiting belief. As you're moving toward what it is that you want, or you're thinking about what it is that you want, do you feel any resistance to that? So it's going to come up, it might come up in two different ways. Just thinking about what I want might not bring up resistance, but it might. For some people, that might be what brings up the resistance. Just, I start thinking about what I want, I go, no, I can't do that. Or but, or if, the word but comes up a lot. I would like to do that, but I could do that, but, and then it's all these other words like if will come up a lot of times when when you start to think about what it is you want. Those are good indications. If and but are good indications that there's resistance here. And then for some of you, it might not come up when you just think about what you want. But when you think about what you would have to do then to get what you want, or who you would have to become in order to get what you want, then the resistance might come up. So for example, for a long time, I wanted to be wealthy, but at the same time, I thought I didn't want to become a greedy person, or a person who had wealth would mean, or being a person who had wealth would mean that I would have to be greedy. And so I was struggling with this for a long time. And it was a very unconscious belief, because consciously I thought, well, yeah, I would want to be wealthy. Who doesn't? But unconsciously I feared the person I would have to become in order to be wealthy. And of course, that's an unchecked belief. I went in there and started looking at it. I was like, no, I know plenty of people who are wealthy who are not greedy. So that doesn't mean I have to become greedy just to be wealthy. So that very good example right there of just an unchecked limiting belief that held me back. But for a long time, it was unconscious, so I didn't know it. So when you think about what it is you want, or you think about what it is that you would have to do or be in order to get what you want, do you feel any resistance to that? And it usually starts as a feeling, because if the belief is unconscious, what becomes conscious is the feeling. And this is where we go, oh, well, that's just how it is, or that's just the way that I am, because I feel it. But no, that's not true. What's triggering the feeling? There's always something that triggers feelings. Feelings don't just arise out of nothing. Something brings up a feeling. There is something, whether it's conscious or not, that will trigger your feelings. So in this case, it's probably a limiting belief. If I feel any resistance to getting what I want, or doing the things that I would have to do, or being the person I would have to be in order to get what I want. So I feel that feeling of resistance, and then ask yourself, what stops me? So I'm clear about what I want, I'm clear about what I need to do and who I need to be in order to get that, but what stops me? I also want to emphasize the be, because a lot of people think about in terms of, well, what do I have to do to get what I want? Of course, you have to have a strategy. Of course, you have to take action. But if you really want to take it to the next level, think about, who do you have to become? And not only is that more powerful in getting what it is that you want, it's really powerful in smoking out any limiting beliefs, because that's where those are much stronger than just the activity. Identity beliefs, limiting or otherwise, are the most powerful beliefs you have. So if you think, well, I'm not that person, I'm not the type of person who can do that, I'm not the type of person who would have that, or any of those identity level thoughts or beliefs, or especially limiting beliefs, those are going to hold you back more than anything. So ask that question, what stops you? Is it because you just don't want to do the things that you got to do to get there, or you don't want to become the person who would have those things? What is it? What's really stopping you? So that would be the first question. And I'm a huge believer in journaling. I think writing helps out so much. It accelerates this process. A lot of people will just sit here and try to answer these questions in their head. You can make it work that way, but it's going to work so much more powerfully if you write this down. So what stops me? Ask yourself that question and then write down the answer. And it might be a long answer. It might take you a while to get very clear about that, but keep working at it until you're clear about what is stopping you. What is it that you believe about yourself, or about the world, or about anything that is stopping you from having what it is that you want? Question number 2, ask yourself, what would it be like if it were possible? And then what will probably start to happen when you ask that question, you'll probably think, well, it is possible. There are people who have what I want. There are people who are doing what I want to do. So obviously it is possible. And then that's when you turn the question on yourself. What would it be like if it were possible for me? Because people will do this. They'll say, well, yeah, it's possible for that person because that person is talented. That person was born with money. That person's just naturally intelligent. I'm not. So it's very, very important to know that it's possible. And in most likely, in most any case, whatever it is that you want, or whoever it is you want to become, there's someone who's already achieved it or has become it. So it is possible. So first identify that it's possible, and then ask yourself, what would make it possible for me? What would make it possible for me to do that, to be that, to have that? Now, by this time, after you've answered both of these questions, you should have come up against this resistance. This, especially when you start really thinking in terms of making this possible for you to do, be, or have. That's usually when the resistance has really shown itself. And welcome the resistance. Don't try to push it away. That's another big mistake people make. So welcome that resistance and just ask it, what is it trying to tell you? What is the resistance about? And just get very honest with yourself. Again, you want to really welcome this. I've done videos on, I just did a recent video on parts integration, conflict integration, and so I go into a more detailed discussion about how to elicit this, how to elicit the positive intent, because even your even your limiting beliefs have positive intents behind them. Okay, so it could be things like, you're trying to protect yourself. You don't want to be disappointed. So a lot of the things will come up that you fear, because fear is what causes all limiting beliefs. So for example, I go into myself and I say, okay, what is it that stops me? What's holding me back? Is it, and then I know if it's possible or not. I know if it's possible or not for me. And it's like, yeah, it's possible for me, but I'm afraid. I fear something. I'm trying to protect myself. And so that's what really all limiting beliefs are rooted in, some sort of fear of something happening that I don't want to happen. So I'm clear about what I want, and this thing is holding me back. I have some limiting belief about it, and until this video, I'm not conscious of it. But now that I'm conscious of it, I go, oh yeah, I'm afraid of all these things. And then you want to ask yourself the question, okay, if that's what I'm afraid of, then what do I want instead? And it's like taking the light and shining it across and in the direction of what it is that you want. And this is super, super powerful. So I don't want that, and that's why I'm afraid of it. That's why I fear it, and I have a belief around that that's holding me back. But now I know what I want instead. And so then you can ask yourself, okay, well, how do I then bring this understanding of what I want based on what I don't want into my outcome or my vision of whatever it is that I want to create, or whatever it is that I want to have, or whoever it is that I want to become. So here's an example. I want to start a new business, and I have all my reasons of why I want to start a new business, and I like that, but then I feel the resistance. I'm holding myself back, and then I start asking those questions. Well, what's stopping me here? What's really getting in the way? Is it possible? Well, yeah, lots of people start new businesses. Is it possible for me? And maybe I wrestle with that a little bit, and I finally come to the conclusion, well, I know plenty of people who I'm just as smart as, and I have just as many resources, and they've started their businesses and it's working. So yeah, it is possible for me. Okay, well, great. So, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna lose all my money, and people are going to laugh at me. I'm gonna look bad. So that's what I don't want, and that's what I'm afraid of, and that's really the essence of the limiting belief. I'm holding myself back because I'm not sure if I could do this. I'm not sure if I can be that person. I'm not sure if I have the ability to succeed at this. Okay, so that's what I'm afraid of. What do I want instead? Okay, well, what I want instead is actually, I want some level of safety. I want some level of protection here. I need some level of security. Now, nothing is 100% secure. Nothing's 100% safe. Like Jim Morrison said, no one here gets out alive. So there's no way to completely make yourself immune to any problems or anything that goes wrong, or mistakes or failure. So we have to, at some point, at some level, take a chance. But then I can ask myself, well, how much security do I need in order to take these chances? And when you ask that question, you naturally will integrate this security into your overall plan, your overall vision of who you want to be, or what you want to have, whatever it is that you want to achieve. So that's how you make a limiting belief your ally. You find out, well, what is it about? What is positively intended with that limiting belief? And yes, all limiting beliefs are positively intended. And I take that value and I just add it to what it is that I want. I add it to whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish. I'll give you another example. I'm learning Romanian. My girlfriend's Romanian, and I've always wanted to learn a language. And when I started thinking about learning a language, when I started thinking about learning Romanian, a lot of resistance came up for me. And so I stopped and I said, okay, well, what is this resistance about? Well, I have tried to learn languages in the past. I tried to learn Spanish and I tried to learn French, and I failed at both. Okay, so what's happening here? I have a limiting belief about my ability to learn a language. I also, what's built into that limiting belief is I don't want to be disappointed again. I don't want to quit. I want to follow through. I want to really learn the language. So I started thinking about this. It's been quite a while since I attempted to learn a language. And in that time, especially through NLP, I've developed a lot of strategies for achieving what it is that I want. And I follow through and I make it happen, and it's happening. And I'm right now living my best life. So now is the time to work on this because I've always wanted this. In fact, I want to learn multiple languages. So I thought to myself, am I intelligent enough? Yes, I know plenty of people who are same level of intelligence and speak multiple languages. So it is possible. It's possible for me. I know this. I don't question it. So what do I need? I need a really good strategy. Well, I can go and study and learn what the polyglots are using for their strategy. And that's what I did. And so it became more and more possible for me. And then so as far as the disappointment goes, that's what I feared disappointment. I feared failing at this. And what do I want instead of that disappointment? What do I want instead of failing at this? Well, I want to succeed. I want to feel good about it. I want to feel like I'm making progress. Boom! As soon as I realized that, that's the light bulb. So I put in there, well, progress. I need to see that I'm progressing. It can't just be I'm thinking I'm getting better at this. I need a way to measure this, to know that I'm making progress at it. So I devised a way to know that I'm making progress at it. It takes 480 hours of study and practice with a language to become mildly fluent at it. Well, if I log my hours and I know that I'm getting closer and closer and chipping away at that 480, that's progress. And as soon as I thought about that, I was like, this is the missing piece. I put that in my vision. I put that in my goal. And now I'm doing it. And it's that simple. Identified a limiting belief and overcame it. As I mentioned earlier, the most powerful beliefs, whether they're limiting beliefs or empowering beliefs, are beliefs that you have about yourself, beliefs that you have about your identity. Your identity itself is a belief. So if you would like to know more about this, if you'd like to know more about what makes a strong sense of self, what creates an empowering belief about who you are, then you will want the elements of a healthy self-concept, which you can get for free. It's a PDF that I offer. All you have to do is go to the description down here or the pinned comment at the top of the comments. There's a link there. Just click that link and you can get immediate access to that PDF, the elements of a healthy self-concept. This is so important. The more you can understand yourself, empower yourself, strengthen the beliefs about yourself, the more you're going to accomplish, the happier you're going to be. Your reality is built upon the beliefs you have about yourself. So make sure you get access to this free PDF. As I mentioned earlier as well, put in the comments below what it is you're dealing with, what's holding you back. And if I can help you gain clarity around that and help move you in the right direction, I'd be happy to do that. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you can get these videos on a regular basis. And last but not least, if you know of a friend or a family member who you think would benefit from this video, make sure you share it with them. Take care.